In this video, I'm going to be mounting a Raspberry Pi 3B to the back of the JellyBOX printer. There's threaded mounting holes pre-installed with the printer, but there's some issues you run into when trying to mount the Raspberry Pi. I'm going to walk you through those. The first major issue you have is the holes on the Raspberry Pi aren't quite 3 millimeters if you're trying to use these M3 socket screws. Extra ones come with the JellyBOX, and that's what I'm using. I'm using the M3 times 12 millimeter. So the holes in the Raspberry Pi are only bored out to 2.5 millimeters. They're not there as mounting holes. From what I've read, they're there for the assembly to keep it in place. So what I did to mount the first screw was used the M3 Allen wrench to go through the hole and then ream the hole. This will actually go through without too much trouble. So just put slight pressure up on the Allen wrench to ream that half, and then slight pressure down. You get the bottom half. Don't hit your GPIO pins that are right next to it. I'm going to do the same thing underneath. Slight pressure up. Won't be able to get pressure down, but I'll flip it. Okay. Now when I did that to the first hole, the screw was able to tap in. Yeah, so now the screw goes through without too much problem. So the other thing that I did is, you don't want the sharp pins on the bottom of the Raspberry Pi directly up against the acrylic, and to make more airspace too for cooling underneath the chips, I printed out spacers. I made these on Tinkercad and printed them on the JellyBOX. I used a raft, but it wasn't totally necessary. I've made some without rafts, just with the normal skirt around them. They printed fine. I did a 3 millimeter center hole and a 7 millimeter outer diameter if you want to make these yourself. Just put them underneath. I did the height 7 millimeters as well. That's plenty of space to keep the pins away from the acrylic. So my plan is to do some future videos using Octoprint from the Raspberry Pi, directly controlling the JellyBOX. I really like that the JellyBOX is pre-configured to install the Raspberry Pi. The issues from this whole thing are from the Raspberry Pi and the fact that those holes just aren't the right size. Next one. Just chipping away just a tiny bit of material on that circuit board. Enough so the screw taps in. Don't put too much pressure, you don't want to break your circuit board. Just a little bit will scrape away that material needed for it to tap. I tried going in before figuring out that the Allen wrench was able to ream the hole. I went and got a rat tail file out from the shed, but it was too big to fit through. Some other people talked about using a drill bit. But this is so simple and it works with the tools you already have right in front of you. Now to install it into the back of the JellyBOX. See the 4 holes. Align that. Push the wiring out of the way a little bit. So I'm mounting it with the GPIO pins on the inside, and I did that because to keep all the HDMI, the micro USB connection headphones out of the wiring that's over here on the left. Just an assumption, but I'll change it up later if need be. So just watch for that. I could tell that the Raspberry Pi was bending a little bit. And it's because one of the other screws was sticking down against the acrylic while I was trying to tighten another one. The screw that was sticking down hadn't been tight yet, and it was misaligned. So I'm going to do that one first. And now this one's bending. This is the one that was, the one on the left was the one that was off. So try to kind of tighten them at the same time and just watch for your board bending. You don't want to break it as you're installing it. Alright. Remember not to over torque these things into the acrylic. Those threads are just in the acrylic. So I'm not even switching the wrench around, just using the small end to torque. And that thing's very solid. The Raspberry Pi is very solidly mounted on there. There's nothing, no wires pinched underneath it. And there's a good air gap beneath it for cooling. So more videos to come in the future using the Raspberry Pi, using Octoprint with it. See y'all next time.